Hello everyone, I'm Too Many Lemons, and today I've taken on a big project. As all of you know, in less than a week, DC is relaunching and rebranding their comics under the Rebirth imprint. And because of that, it's ending the New 52/DCYOU era. So now, with new things coming down the pipeline, I have decided to do two trivial top 10s. Even more alliteration. This first one will be the worst of the New 52/DCYOU. My next video tomorrow will be the best. This video will seem like a lot of hating on the New 52, but that's why I'm starting with the negatives. Hopefully DC can fix these obvious problems. Like all trivial top 10s, this is my opinion. We all have opinions and I'd love to hear yours. Tell me why I'm an idiot in the comments below. Number 10. Larfleeze. A spin-off of the Green Lanterns, Larfleeze centered on your favorite Orange Lantern. Just kidding. No one cares about the Orange Lanterns. But even so, this book had tons of potential fun, yet Larfleeze somehow managed none of it. It's dull and not even worth 25 cents an issue. Number 9. Superman by George Perez. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love George Perez, and it's obviously not his fault that this book was bad. It was all changed in editing to go more along with Morrison's Action Comics, something which Perez had no knowledge of. The story just turns out to be a long line of dense and painstakingly emotionally vacant issues strung together around Superman acting like a jerk. I think DC really forgot how to write soups in the New 52, and hopefully with Rebirth, we can hashtag make Superman likable again. Number 8. Static Shock. As a huge fan of the television show growing up, Static Shock in print left me confused and angry. It was only 8 issues long, and it completely runs out of ideas by the final issue. And it feels entirely pointless for him to be put into the DC universe when not a single other hero or villain ever shows up. DC acquired a pretty great character with Static, but they definitely didn't use him to his full potential, and that makes me really upset. Number 7. Red Hood and the Outlaws. Scott Lobdell's Red Hood and the Outlaws will be remembered for its offensive treatment of Starfire, making her little more than eye candy for neckbeards. Throughout the book, we saw the unlikable trio of Jason Todd, Arsenal, and Starfire get into trouble and fight out while making sure to be rude and occasionally even embarrassing. I'd say that this book is the Michael Bay movie of DC Comics. Number 6. Green Arrow. They've made Oliver Queen into a really generic superhero, with boardroom problems that are a remold of stories we've seen with Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark, and with much less to distinguish him by from other street-level vigilantes. It feels like they took the fun out of this book to make it more like the show, not realizing that the worst part of the show is the fact that it isn't fun like the book. Also, later arcs I didn't read much of, but they made him a werewolf, and that's all I need to say. Number 5. Lobo. From the moment of Lobo's redesign, readers' worst fears were realized. They were absolutely right. It starts when it's revealed that the Lobo that fans knew and loved was in fact a fake Lobo. Not only did this new Lobo wind up supplanting the original version, but his backstory was needlessly long and replaced the over-the-top black comedy of its original stories, with something both self-serious and underdeveloped. It's not for the fans, and it wasn't for new people. Who was it for? No one. Number 4. Teen Titans, both runs. I remember back when the Teen Titans were a powerhouse in comics. So much so that even after Volume 4 got canned after 30 issues, they brought it back immediately with Volume 5, which had the exact same problems with continuity and characterization that Volume 4 had. These characters went from having deep and nuanced backstories to almost no coherent origins at all. Clunky plotting and over-sexualized art has killed this book. Number 3. Batman Super Heavy. This was Scott Snyder's biggest mistake in comics. After the events of Convergence and the DCYOU starting, Scott had the brilliant idea, you know what? Who needs Bruce Wayne anyway? Let's make a Jim Gordon in a robotic batsuit for no reason at all. And DC's worst mistake was saying okay. It's boring, drawn out, and the villain of the series, Mr. Bloom, is horribly flawed and not scary in the least. The best part of reading Super Heavy was seeing small glimpses of Bruce Wayne living a normal life, or the conversation that he had with Joker by the lake. Everything else in Super Heavy was trash. Number 2. Superman Truth. With the end of Convergence and the start of the DCYOU, DC executives decided that Superman would be much more interesting if he not only didn't have any powers and was outed as Clark Kent, but also if he was a massive dick to everybody for absolutely no reason. It didn't help that this book was spread out into 4 different books, Superman Action Comics, Superman Wonder Woman, and Superman Batman, but even without them, there is no reason to read Truth. And that's the truth. Number 1. Convergence. Since the New 52's inception, several events hinted at a pre-Flashpoint restoration, but Convergence actually got us so incredibly close. The primary miniseries of 8 issues and a 0 issue was so underfilling, yet it promised so much. With a terrible villain, the stakes never felt high enough to warrant the elevated meaning. The multiverse was imperiled, but it took a single page out of 2 months of stories to effortlessly fix. For most readers, it was the 40 tie-in series that showed the poorest form. A repetitive series of cities being put under a dome, followed by superhero battles from various eras that felt bland and uninteresting. For a series that was meant to bring big things to the DC universe, Convergence is one of DC's biggest mistakes. And that's it for the worst books of the DC New 52 and DC YOU. If you liked the video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Also watch out tomorrow for my next TTT, Best Books of the New 52 DC YOU. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go take a long warm bath and relax a bit before I start working on the next video. See you!